When I introduced my girlfriend to my sister froze in fear, because my girlfriend used to be her school bully. And then, my girlfriend laughed at her. But now, my sister has me to defend her from my ex-girlfriend. I'm 28 years old, and I've been dating Brooke, 24, for about 8 months. It's a serious relationship, we've even talked about moving in together, and maybe getting married someday. Not now, but in the future. I thought I knew her. I thought she was mature, emotionally intelligent, a little blunt sometimes, but overall a kind person. Everything seemed fine, until last weekend. My mom retired early, and we had a small family celebration at our house, just close family and a few family friends. I asked Brooke to come so she could meet everyone, to see the whole family at once. She was excited, asking what she should wear, if she should bring something, eager to make a good impression. My younger sister, Beth, 21, was also going to be there. She came home from college for the weekend. I hadn't talked much about her with Brooke, but not for any particular reason, it just never came up. All Brooke knew was that Beth is my little sister, she's shy, and she loves art. When we arrived, Beth was helping my mom set the table. They turned around to greet us, and Beth just froze. Her face drained, all the color gone, like she'd seen a ghost. She stared at Brooke for 2 seconds, dropped a spoon, and quickly left without a word. I thought maybe she was sick or overwhelmed. But then Brooke just watched her leave, and started laughing. My mom didn't laugh. She quietly told me she was going to check on Beth, giving Brooke a strange look. I still didn't understand. So I awkwardly tried to fill the silence and kept introducing Brooke to the others. It took about 20 minutes before my mom came back. She pulled me aside and told me Beth had locked herself in the upstairs bathroom, crying, shaking, hyperventilating. She said, "I know you didn't know, I don't blame you, but you have to understand who Brooke is to Beth." That's when they filled in all the gaps for me. It turns out Brooke and Beth went to the same high school, different grades, but the same school. And Brooke wasn't just one of the bullies. According to my mom, she was the leader. She called Beth names, mocked her weight, got other girls to stop talking to her, spread rumors, and made sure she ate lunch alone. This went on for more than a year. Beth never told me everything. I didn't know how bad it was, just that she stopped wanting to go to school and started therapy. I had no idea Brooke was the reason. What makes it worse is that Brooke had once told me she was the one who got bullied in high school, that she hated that environment, that people were cruel and closed-minded. On the way home, since we had to leave early, I mentioned Beth's name. Brooke's face changed immediately. First, she looked confused. Then, when I gave more details, she said, "Oh, that Beth." She claimed she vaguely remembered her, that maybe she made some jokes back then, but everyone was cruel in high school. She literally said, I didn't think she'd still be traumatized by that. I reminded her that she laughed when Beth ran off. She shrugged and said she thought Beth was just acting weird, that she had no idea anything was wrong. Then she told me I was overreacting, that my family was turning this into a witch hunt. She tried to change the subject, talking about how the night could have gone better and how tense everything felt. I told her it was tense because she was the reason my sister had a breakdown. That's when she switched tactics. She said she's not that person anymore, that she's matured, that all of this happened almost 8 years ago, that she's been through things since graduating and came out a better person. I told her, fine, but then why didn't you ever mention this? Why lie by saying you were bullied? She went quiet and said she didn't lie, she just didn't tell the whole story. Now it feels like she's using the "I've changed" argument as a shield to avoid taking responsibility. I don't think she regrets what she did, I think she regrets being caught in front of my family. When we got back to my place, she tried to smooth things over by being flirty. She didn't want to talk, she just tried to touch me, to distract me. I pushed her away, I wasn't in the mood for games. I told her we weren't sweeping this under the rug. Now she's mad at me, saying my family is overreacting about something that happened a long time ago, and that Beth is too grown to use this as an excuse to pout. She even claimed my mom was rude to her, which isn't true. My mom just didn't let her play innocent. My parents want me to leave her. My sister hasn't spoken to me since. I think she's embarrassed and doesn't want to make things worse. Brooke has moved past her anger and started texting me like nothing happened, sending selfies and random messages, but I can't even look at her without remembering how quickly she laughed when she saw Beth break down. She keeps saying she's changed. That she's not that person anymore. Update 2: It's been a few days since everything happened. Honestly, I thought maybe she would just quietly disappear from my life. Like, okay, we fought, I told her we were done, I was clear. I thought she understood. Apparently not. 2 days after we broke up, she showed up at my mom's house. She brought flowers. She was dressed up, full makeup, smiling. She said she wanted to apologize in person. My mom didn't even open the door all the way, she cracked it open and told her to leave. Brooke stood there for a moment and apparently said, "You're amazing," before walking back to her car. I didn't even hear about it until Beth told me. My mom never mentioned it. I guess she didn't want to make things worse, or maybe she was trying not to stress me out. But that night, Beth texted me, "Your ex came here." Brooke made mom super uncomfortable. And I don't feel safe. That made me angry all over again. I called Brooke and asked, "What the hell were you doing at my mom's house?" And her response, literally, was, "Trying to fix what you're too much of a coward to face." She started ranting, saying I chose drama, that I let one panic attack define our relationship, that I was letting my family brainwash me. But I didn't let her twist things. This isn't about one panic attack, I told her. It's about what you did to Beth for years, and how you still can't see it as something bad. She didn't care. She just kept talking about how it wasn't fair for people to see her as a monster for things that happened in high school. I asked, "Have you even admitted to yourself what you did to Beth?" She said, "Yeah, I was a bitch sometimes. But so were you. So was your sister. We all were." And then, she laughed. That's when I told her to delete my number. But she still didn't stop. The next day, she started texting me like nothing had happened. She said she wanted to meet, talk like adults, have closure. I told her no. She kept pushing. And then I started getting messages from some of our mutual friends, mostly people I knew through, so I didn't expect her to be on my side. That's when it became obvious she had started telling her own version of events. A girl, I'll call her Maddie, messaged me and said she heard everything was a disaster, but that Brooke told her my mom hated her from the start, and that Beth was mentally unstable and used to get jealous of the girls I dated. Maddie told me Brooke had been saying things like, "His mom is close as well." Beth still clings to high school stuff because she wants me. And worst of all, that I was emotionally manipulated, that I made Brooke believe everything was fine and then betrayed her without warning. I replied to Maddie, "If you believe that, then stop texting me." She said she didn't thought I should have. So yeah, apparently now I'm the stereotypical mom's mom, and my sister is a crazy, unstable, jealous woman who sabotages her brother's relationship because she wants attention. Brooke makes no sense. Honestly, I'm not surprised she's trying to protect her, but I didn't think she'd go this far. The worst part is, I think she really believes the victim. I told Beth everything Brooke had said. I asked if she was okay with my personal acceptance, and she said yes. In fact, she wanted me to. She's tired of hiding. There's one more thing I need to mention. After everything that's happened, I started thinking back on Brooke's past, things she'd said over months, stories she told about old friends and past relationships. Some details stood out, like how she always had crazy ex-boyfriends. How everyone from her old school hated her because she was so confident. some girl at her last job had made up lies and tried to get her fired. Back then, I didn't think much of it. I figured people exaggerated or were jealous of her. Now, I'm not so sure. I reached out to a former friend of hers, a girl she used to mention a lot when talking about college. I barely follow her on Instagram, hardly know her, but I messaged her and said, "Hi, I dated Brooke. Some things happened, and I just wanted to know if you had a good experience with her." She replied immediately. Said they hadn't spoken in years, that Brooke basically ghosted her completely after she started dating a guy Brooke liked. She said Brooke always had this need to be the center of everything, and if people didn't fall in line, she'd start, well, acting out. That hit me hard. Because that's exactly what's happening now. Brooke can't stand not being the main character. I've blocked her number. Blocked her on everything. I'm done explaining myself to people who'd rather believe her version of events. And honestly, the silence since then has been the best thing I've felt in weeks. I'm still angry. Still disgusted. Still processing everything. But I don't regret leaving her. The only thing I regret is bringing her home in the first place. I wish I'd seen it sooner. But people like her get worse when you ignore them. Beth is getting back into her routine at college, trying to return to normal. And then, 2 weeks ago, something happened that made me realize that just walking away wasn't going to be enough, and that it was time to involve the authorities. Beth was pulled aside by one of her professors. He told her there had been an anonymous concern submitted about her, claiming she was emotionally unstable, that she had threatened to self-harm, and that she might be using that to manipulate others. The university is required to take those things seriously, but they also know how to recognize when something is off. Her professor told her they weren't going to take any action, but that they had to notify her emergency contact because it involved mental health concerns. That contact was me. Beth called me immediately. She was panicking again, not just scared, but furious. Because she knew, from the very first second, who it had been. I didn't even have to ask. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to stay silent anymore. Brooke works in public relations. She loves to talk about her personal brand. She once told me she curates her life like it's a resume, only showing what will help her move forward. Her whole personality is polished, professional, calculated. When we were together, I thought it was just confidence. Now I realize, it was control. I knew she had a close relationship with her boss. She always talked about her like a mentor, someone who believed in her when no one else did. She bragged about the trust her boss had in her, that she was probably getting a promotion by the end of the year. So I wrote one simple, direct message. I attached screenshots. The voice notes she sent to my friends. The photo of the handwritten note she slid under Beth's door. I explained what she had told Beth's professor. A week later, I heard about the consequences for Brooke. She'd been told to take personal leave from work, but honestly, it sounded more like she was as good as fired. And that was just part of what I did. I told Brooke that if she didn't leave us alone, especially my sister, I was going to the police and filing a harassment report. And that's exactly what I did. Maybe that also affected her job, because the police are now officially pressing charges against her. The situation is as serious as it can be. I'm not expecting much, it's just a note and some other stuff, but they're also investigating the anonymous report to the university, to gather more evidence of harassment. Most likely, she'll get a fine or something similar. I don't expect her to go to jail for this. But if it gets the point across, that she is not wanted in our lives, I'll take it. Some people don't understand when you tell them, "I want nothing more to do with you," block them everywhere, and they still find ways to reach you. They only understand when there's something formal against them. I hope she's one of those people. And not one of the ones who still doesn't get it, even after all this. Edit. We don't qualify for a restraining order yet, just clarifying because people have asked a lot. Update 5. By now, we know the kind of person Brooke is, the kind you can only stop by involving the police. Because after the report, and the investigation that followed, she hasn't done anything else. No contact. No more harassment. Nothing. And now that she's faced some consequences, like paying a fine for harassment, things have been quiet. I know this won't change her. She hasn't changed this whole time. She's still a high school bully, and she'll probably start harassing someone else, another boyfriend, another coworker, whoever. I feel bad saying it, but I'm relieved it's no longer us. If the curse, if you can call it that, is that her parents or someone else doesn't put a real stop to her behavior, then I guess it'll fall on someone else. But it feels good to have gotten such a heavy weight, Brooke, off my back. At least for me, it only cost 8 months of my life, plus this aftermath. Not an entire lifetime in a marriage. It would have been even better if I'd known all of this at the very beginning. But, it is what it is.